Okay, so when we solve questions that are two-step algebra questions in the format of mx plus b equals y, we have to take these two steps to solve for x. First, you want to eliminate the b. You want to move it over to the other side by using the properties of equality that I explained in my last video. Like you want to subtract out, you want to subtract it out, you want to add it out, you want to do that, right? And then next, you want to get rid of the coefficient in front of the x so that the coefficient is a 1 instead of whatever m is. Like m can be 2, 3, 4, whatever, but you want to get it to a 1. This can be eliminated through the division or the multiplication property of equality. So let's look at an example. Let's look at the equation of 3x minus 7 equals 11. As I said before, the first step is to get rid of this extra number. It's not attached to the x like the 3 is. The 3 is attached to the x, so let's worry about the one that's not attached. We're going to use the addition property of equality. We're going to add 7 because to cancel out the minus 7, we want to add 7 because as I already explained before, minus 7 plus 7, that gives you 0, so it cancels out. But we want to get rid of the 7, and we add a 7, so we also have to do it to the right side of because the properties of equality, what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So let's do that. We get rid of it, and now we have 3x equals 11 plus 7, which is 18. But now you're stuck with this coefficient. So we want to use either the multiplication property of equality or the division property of equality. Here it would be easier to use the division property of equality, and so we're going to divide by the coefficient that's in front. So to isolate the x, we would have to divide it by 3, because 3x divided by 3 would give us x, and then 18 divided by 3 is 6. So that would give us the final answer of 6. Of course, what you should always do is plug it in to make sure. So let's check. When x is equal to 6, we plug in 6. 3 times 6, 18 minus 7 equals 11, and that checks out. Now let's do another question. 5x minus 3 equals 22. Remember, we always want to follow the two-step. Extra number, which is not attached to the x. So this is the extra number, and this is the one that's attached. So we want to always start with the extra number here. And then coefficient to 1. We always want to get the coefficient to 1. So first, we want to get rid of the extra number, right? So we're going to use the addition property of equality. Let's add a 3. But then since we added a 3 on this side, we want to add a 3 to the right side. So now we have 5x, right, equals 22 plus 3, which is 25. And then we want to get the coefficient to 1. So we have a 5 here, so we want to divide out the 5. But what we do to this side, we have to do to the other. So now we have x equals 25 divided by 5, which is 5, right? And then, of course, we can check it. 5 times 5 minus 3 equals 22. Let's see if it's right. 25 minus 3 equals 22, and that checks out. So let's try something else. X over 5 minus 2 equals 8. Right? So as I said before, we have to start with the extra number, so let's add 2. Let's add it to the other side as well. So now we're stuck with x fifths. This cancels, equals 10. Right? So let's look at this. This is actually equal to 1/5 x times 10 equals 10. Because this is the same thing as saying 1/5 times x. Because really this would end up on top and then it would become this format. So how are we going to get this to a 1 coefficient? We're going to multiply it by 5. This is the multiplication property of equality. And in doing this, we're going to get 5. We're going to multiply it to the top, so it's 5 over 5, 1. The coefficient becomes 1 and 1x. And then 10 times 5, 50. Of course, we can check it. 50 over 5 minus 2 equals 8. 50 over 5, 10 minus 2 equals 8. For these problems, you always want to multiply the fraction by its reciprocal, which is basically what you get when you flip the fraction, to get a 1, because it always works like that. If I show an example, look, 1/6 multiplied by 6, we get 1. So when we multiply it, we get 6 over 6 equals 1. You always want to use the reciprocal. Here we can do it again, 1/4 times 4, the reciprocal, equals 1, because this becomes 4 over 4, which is equal to 1. The reciprocal is basically when it's flipped, so this is basically all we're doing. We're turning into 4 over 1, but that's just 4, so we're just going to use 4 instead.